Welcome back to We Are Eternal, and consciousness is what we are going to be discussing today. So, getting right into it. So, Neogenesis posits that consciousness cannot arise from matter, no matter how complex that matter is arranged. So let's take a look at some of that matter that they're referring to. So the human brain is comprised of omega-3 fatty acids, protein, amino acids, and vitamins B, E, and C. Minerals include iron, magnesium, and zinc. Choline for neurotransmitter synthesis and cell membrane integrity. Complex carbohydrates for energy, water, and other things such as lipids and different sort of fats and proteins and things like that. That's what the brain is comprised of. And of course, the synapses is firing and gets in electrical impulses, tell you, and processes things that you see with your five senses. But what part of the brain does consciousness come from? It doesn't. So these fundamental nutrients support brain cell structure, energy, communication, and protection against damage. However, there is no way to arrange these substances in a way that will produce an internal, individual, subjective experience. Now, I'm going to read a few leading theories about consciousness. So the first theory is integrated information theory, and it posits that consciousness emerges from the degree to which information is integrated within a system. The more interconnected and integrated the information processing in the brain, the higher the level of consciousness. This theory attempts to mathematically quantify consciousness and suggests that it is not tied to any specific region, but rather to the system's overall information complexity. So, this theory says that if you have enough neurons firing and enough neurons firing more in more complex ways, then somehow subjective experience emerges from that. The next one is global neuronal workspace theory. And it suggests that consciousness arises when information is globally broadcast across the brain's neural networks, making it accessible to various cognitive processes, memory, attention, decision-making, etc. This workspace integrates inputs for multiple unconscious processes that makes it available for conscious experience. I wonder if the global neuronal workspace theory takes into account the origin of the unconscious processes. Interesting. And the final theory is the energetic organization theory. Some neuroscientific evidence indicates that consciousness is a product of how energetic activity is organized in the brain, the dynamic arrangement of electrochemical processes involving neurons, glial cells, I guess, cells, and supporting structures may give rise to conscious experience when it reaches sufficient complexity and integration. This view emphasizes the importance of the brain's energy flow organization rather than just the presence of neural activity. Once again, another theory basically saying the same thing. The more complex, the higher the level of consciousness. Consciousness is most widely believed to be produced by the complex, integrated, and dynamic activity of the brain's neural network. Leading theories differ on the exact mechanisms, but all agree that it is an emergent property of highly organized information processing and energetic activity within the brain. The hard problem of consciousness is why and how this organization leads to subjective consciousness, and that remains unsolved. I have an idea, though. So, take the first line. Consciousness is most widely believed to be produced by the complex, integrated, and dynamic activity of the brain's neural networks. So let's take those same words, kind of mix them around a little bit, and arrange them like this. The complex, integrated, and dynamic activity of the brain's neural network is produced by consciousness. That makes more sense. All of those theories only explain the brain's response to external stimuli. It does not account for the human's ability to plan into the future or create art out of intangible thoughts and ideas. It does not take into account humans' capacity for integrity and empathy, or lack thereof. It doesn't explain why some people have the ears to hear and the eyes to see. It also doesn't explain why some people seem to have access to the metaphysical realm, or why psychedelics give people such a transformative effect on the mind. The study of the hard problem of consciousness is where materialistic science ends and the study of metaphysical states of awareness begins. Currently, meta-rationalism is the most comprehensive and in-depth publication of metaphysical awareness that is available right now. And there is a lot to cover. Way more than I can put in this video. The problem with materialistic science is that if you can't reproduce it in a lab, then it doesn't merit any further investigation. But consciousness is not a product of this physical existence. If it was, then we would be able to find the exact mechanism that produces consciousness and internal subjective experiences. Instead, all materialistic science can do is observe brain activity that results from internal stimuli, such as dreams. The brain is just an input-output device that controls and regulates bodily functions and stores and filters information. A person's subjective experience involves a different mechanism altogether. And that mechanism is described in detail in meta-rationalism. I want to leave with a quote from Edward R. Harrison in his book Cosmology, The Science of the Universe. And it says, "Given enough time, hydrogen begins to wonder where it came from and where it is going. Sure, that's a very deep, poetic way of describing how matter comes together to form more complex elements, but it is completely illogical. Like, someone that doesn't understand philosophy and internal subjective experiences and who believes more of the materialistic scientific side of things will read this quote and be like, oh, wow, that's so cool and amazing. And it's bullshit. That's what it is. It's bullshit. Hydrogen does not think or wonder anything. No matter how many hydrogen atoms you fuse together, no matter how many more complex elements that you fuse together from hydrogen, it's never going to just wake up one day and think, I wonder where I came from and where the fuck am I going? That is completely illogical. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope it was enlightening. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.